Episode 108.
I'll let you off the hook this time. I've got more important things to attend to. But next time we meet, little one, you won't get off so easily.
The girl wrinkled her nose, a playful little crease forming, her heart reluctant to part. It seemed Han Li had become a new toy for her, one that held a powerful allure and made her reluctant to leave. In the end, the girl pouted, then raised her hand and pulled out a talisman. With a wave, she vanished in a flash of brilliant green light. Anyone who saw that would have cursed her for being a spendthrift on the spot. She just casually squandered a wood evasion talisman, a treasure rarely seen in the cultivation world, and it was a mid-grade, perfected talisman. After all, if an ordinary person got their hands on a talisman like this, wouldn't they treat it like a priceless family heirloom? It was only to be used in matters of life and death, the ultimate tool for escaping certain doom. Of course, Han Li was completely unaware of all this. He felt no regret, and he certainly had no idea that a woman of such significant standing had now set her sights on him. At that moment, he was simply overjoyed to have escaped the predicament so easily.
Whether someone's really lying in wait there or not, I'm not going to pursue it any further. After all, the closer we get to the center, the more enemies we'll encounter. Ambushes and surprise attacks like this will become the new normal. After all, keeping myself alive and avoiding unnecessary fights is my current operating principle. Besides, it's not like I came away from those two corpses completely empty-handed.
With that thought, Han Li extended a hand. A nearly transparent ball of thread appeared in his palm. This was the item he'd grabbed on his way out, the thread-like magic tool that had killed the giant sword sect disciple. Han Li channeled a bit of magic power into it. The thread instantly went taut, stretching out into a perfectly straight line nearly 100 feet long. Han Li gave the thread a few experimental flicks, and its utility became immediately apparent.
Used right, this thing is the perfect weapon for an ambush.
It's incredibly elastic, razor-sharp, and nearly invisible. Han Li was confident he could make an enemy's head roll before they even realized what was happening.
I wonder what this thread is actually made of. If it were longer, the possibilities would be endless.
Han Li was intrigued. He immediately directed the thread to slice a dozen nearby trees clean in half. It did so without the slightest effort, which delighted him immensely.
This thread is even more useful than I imagined.
At that moment, on a patch of grass not far from the Forbidden Land's central zone, two groups of disciples, one from the Saber Transformation sect, the other from the Clear Void sect, had met on a narrow path and were locked in a fierce, desperate battle. With 5 or 6 fighters on each side, their strength was evenly matched, making them true rivals. This was the first major, bloody clash of the blood-forbidden trial, all to be the first into the central zone and claim the spirit herbs. If they could eliminate their opponents right here and now, that would be even more ideal. In the end, the Clear Void sect's Taoists proved superior. After slaying most of their opponents, the 2 remaining Saber Transformation sect disciples fled wounded, allowing the Clear Void sect to be the first to enter the central zone. In the central region, not only were there all manner of rare flora and spiritual fruits, but also powerful first-grade demonic beasts standing guard over them. The strength of these beasts was enough to rival disciples at the peak of the Foundation establishment stage. Every time a spirit beast is slain and the herbs are harvested, as long as new spirit herbs sprout in that place, those beasts will inexplicably appear once more. Although the new beasts weren't necessarily the same species as the last, it left the various sect masters utterly perplexed. Could it be that these demonic beasts were also spontaneously born from the world's spiritual chi? This was completely at odds with their previous understanding. According to their understanding, these demon beasts were originally just wild animals. Only through the long-term, unconscious absorption of the sun and moon's essence could they occasionally evolve into creatures with demonic power. Statistically speaking, the odds of that happening are no higher than the chance of a human becoming a cultivator. Furthermore, for years, disciples from the various sects could only gather spirit herbs on the periphery of the central zone. If they ventured any closer to the core, they would be trapped or erased by the still active restrictions and traps, and the deeper they went, the more troublesome the demonic beasts became. Given their small numbers, they couldn't possibly repel it, so they had no choice but to keep their distance, circling cautiously on the outskirts. Whether the Clear Void sect disciples can strike first and gather the spirit herbs is one thing, but for Han Li, he now faces the greatest crisis of his entire Forbidden Zone expedition. At a narrow pass, he found himself blocked from both ends by a disciple of the Spirit Beast sect and one from the Heavenly Void sect. Han Li recognized this burly man from the Spirit Beast Mountain sect. It was the same bearded fellow who had glared at him before. He was now leering at Han Li with a look that said, "You're dead."
I was so careful, so cautious, and I still walked right into an ambush. And the worst kind, too. Outnumbered.
The place where Han Li now stood was known in the records as the Thread of Heaven, a terrain of extreme peril. Without flying on Qi, this entire stretch offered only this single, narrow path leading to the central area. And on either side of this path stood sheer, treacherous peaks. Even someone like Han Li, who possessed worldly martial arts and considerable lightness skill, wouldn't dare attempt to climb them lightly. As for flying over it using Qi, that's not even worth mentioning. It's a blatant act of suicide, offering yourself up as a target. No disciple from any sect would be foolish enough to try it. The bitter lessons of their predecessors had made it clear. Levitating flight was strictly forbidden within the Forbidden Zone. To attempt it was to sign your own death warrant. When Han Li first entered this place, he hesitated for quite a while. In the end, he didn't dare take the shortcut by flying over the mountain peak. So, he had no choice but to follow the winding path, proceeding slowly on foot. Of course, given the danger of this place, Han Li was on high alert. The entire way, his nerves were stretched taut. But just like that, the moment he stepped out of the intersection, before he could even catch his breath, the two of them blocked his path forward and back without warning.
With that fierce look on his face, talking my way out of this is pointless.
Han Li first cast a defensive water barrier around himself, then summoned his flying sky shield. In his hands, he readied the magic tool, the gold talon mother-child blades, along with the earth prison talisman, one of his few remaining high-grade primary talismans. The bearded man and the one behind him watched Han Li's every move with cold eyes, showing no intention of intervening or launching a preemptive strike.
They look so confident. They must be absolutely sure they can handle me. That's no surprise. The guy behind me alone is at the peak of the 12th layer, let alone the bearded one who's at the 13th. They're facing a rookie like me at the 11th layer, so of course they think it's a sure thing, a piece of cake.
Seeing this, Han Li licked his slightly dry lips and gave a private, contemptuous laugh.
Since they're being so careless, I'll make the most of it.
So Han Li subtly shifted his position to one side, placing himself and the two others in a triangular formation to avoid being attacked from both front and back. As expected, the two did not seize the opportunity to attack. Facing the most formidable foe he had encountered since entering the world of cultivation, Han Li felt surprisingly unafraid. He had always tried to avoid a head-on clash, but that didn't mean he lacked confidence in himself. Han Li reasoned that while his magic power was significantly weaker, putting him at a disadvantage in a drawn-out fight, the top-tier magic tools and magic treasures he possessed were more than enough to bridge that gap. And if it really came down to it, unleashing a Heaven Thunderbolt to eliminate one of them would be a trivial matter, wouldn't it? Whether he'd be willing to use it, though, was another matter entirely. Han Li was also puzzled at this moment. Why hadn't the bearded man and the Heavenly Void sect disciples fought each other, but instead joined forces?
That would be normal for fellow disciples from the same sect, but these two clearly aren't from the same sect.
You've got some nerve, kid. Daring to mock me outside the Forbidden Zone and making eyes with that bitch. Now you'll pay for it with your life. Brother Yan, this punk has a score to settle with me. Leave him to me. I'm going to give him a proper welcome. I'll make sure he learns that the world of cultivation isn't so easy to get by in. Before you make enemies, kid, you'd better open your eyes.
Suit yourself. I'll be right here keeping an eye out. Just don't capsize in the shallows again like last time. Otherwise, you'll owe me another life-saving favor.
That was a total fluke. Against a rookie like this, half my strength is more than enough.
Well, you'd better watch yourself. I'd hate to hear some bad news about you one day. After all, we've been drinking buddies for years. Finding another one who clicks with me like that wouldn't be easy.
The Heavenly Void sect disciple shook his head, as if the bearded man's arrogance was giving him a headache. Still, he didn't think the opponent before him posed any real threat to his old friend. Besides, he was still watching from the sidelines. Han Li listened from the side, hearing every word of their unguarded conversation. He picked up on the subtext, and the pieces of his puzzle finally clicked into place.
So they're friends, and good ones at that. That complicates things. They've clearly fought together before. That kind of coordination is far more dangerous than a couple of strangers teaming up. And from the sound of it, they've coordinated more than once. It seems the only way is to strike with overwhelming force. Take one of them out first. The other will be much easier to handle. But this is just too bizarre. The disciples were supposed to be teleported randomly, yet they somehow ended up together in the same place. There's no justice in this world.
Han Li was deeply suspicious and that these two had gotten so lucky.
Meanwhile, the man from the Heavenly Void sect was also thinking about this with smug satisfaction. Seeing the bearded man approach Han Li, his thoughts churned, landing on the true hero of their reunion, the Fusion Spirit Talisman.
The high-grade Fusion Spirit Talisman is truly remarkable. Just activate it simultaneously between me and my friend right before entering the Forbidden Zone, and it temporarily links our spiritual chi. That way, the restriction will teleport us to the same location. Even though I heard the success rate was only about 50-50, and the price of this talisman was outrageously high, far beyond that of a regular high-grade primary talisman. But we succeeded in the end. We set up an ambush here, took out several disciples from various sects who passed by, and made a killing. Besides, I, Yan, am no fool. I spent a fortune and took a huge risk to come to this forbidden zone. It wasn't for those spirit herbs that everyone's drooling over. It was just to have a legitimate excuse to kill and plunder here, to make a killing. There won't be any messy consequences either. I'm sure that with the two of us working together, and as long as we steer clear of those tough-looking experts, we can achieve our goal with ease. Then, when the time is about right, we pull back and find a place to lay low. We just stay put until the clock runs out, and we can walk out of here safe and sound. This is a perfect plan. Only I could have come up with it.
The man from the Heavenly Void sect, thinking of the bright future awaiting him outside, couldn't help but get a little carried away with self-admiration. His mind was naturally not on the imminent battle.